know.
One of the things that Dr. Malachi York talked about that always stood out to me, I thought it was beautiful. He talked about making contact with angelic or alien beings, right? These
Hmm.
or ourselves
Yeah.
from you know what I'm saying, from another
The extra
lifetime.
stuff. Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
Avatars, and people are like scared of them. They're scared of the little gray beings that would maybe show up in
Right.
their house in the middle of the night or something, right? And he talked about how they have the ability to show up in the form that you can accept, like that, like if you ask them or
Right.
whatever.
Right.
And so these angelic avatars and beings could show up as the little gray if you're okay with that, or they can show up as a beautiful white woman, or they can look like
Hmm.
Jesus or like a black Jesus, like whatever. Like that's
Hmm.
how they approach you and appear to you. Have you ever had any encounters with anything like that?
Uh, I have to say, man, I've never had um, any type of real spiritual, contact or any vision or anything. I'm pretty sure you probably have. I don't know, man. I've always thought, like, how come I don't get visited?
That's the weird thing, man, because like,
you
cause I've spent like
know,
hours under the stars, man, and it takes a long time. But I've seen UFOs and I've seen things.
yeah,
Have you ever seen any
I've seen
craft? And
UFOs. I've seen UFOs. I actually seen UFO with Killer Priest
oh yeah,
one time. Me and Killer Priest, and it was Hellraiser from Sons of Man,
yeah,
and I think Prodigal Son was with us, and this sister by the name of Makiba Mooncycle. I don't know. Anyway, we were walking. We were in Brooklyn, and we were walking. We was in Crown Heights, and we were looking up, man, and we seen. Of course, Killer Priest pointed it out. We were actually just kind of staring up. I don't even know what we were doing. We were talking. We were building about something, and we were looking at this. We were looking at the stars, and Killer Priest had pointed out something that was weird, and we watched. We actually watched the UFO in New York City. So I've actually seen UFOs before. Yes, I've seen UFOs also on the land too in Tamaray. Like, all looking up. I never told anybody this.
yeah.
The brothers and sisters from the tribe say Rasul said this is my. I mean, I never shared this, but I actually seen one time I was on the land. I was just kind of walking, and it was because when on the land you could see all the stars.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was in a rural part of Georgia, so I'm pretty sure you guys out there in Alabama could see the stars too. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, man, I've seen UFOs before. I can
That's what's
confirm
up.
that.
What is there's a another word that's used for UFOs, and I think this comes from the Book of Inky. I'm not really sure, but you guys use it in your music a little bit. You talk about shams,
The sham.
waiting for the shams to land. What does that? Where does that term come from? Talking about UFOs.
That was a term from the M gear,
Okay.
uh, or another word for a moving vessel or something
Like
that's a
like a
yeah,
chariot.
kind of like that. Yeah,
Like yeah, like
and
the
the map,
chariots of fire in the Bible.
yeah,
Yeah.
another way of explaining it in that way in that ancient language, and the master teacher would kind of build on it and add a more of a scientific or metaphysical understanding of that. And he called it. He said that the crash was the shams are shaped like that, but they were called cylinder seals, cylinder shaped seals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you
I've
read
seen those. I've
any
seen
of our
those. Yeah.
right. They're kind of like,
Like a
am I correct?
cigar shape is what they call them too.
Right,
The cigar
right,
shape.
right. And the master, he would expound and they build on that. So it's kind of another way from the M gear or Sumerian approach for UFO. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Not saying I'm not saying that's what it translates as.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is he was making equivalent, making something that was, you know what I'm saying, like making like a cross reference for like for instance, they say chariots of fire in the
In the Bible. Yeah.
in the Bible. So in the Quran, they said Barak. Muhammad flew across the desert and on a Barak. And the Barak was a flying a flying donkey with wings. So
Yeah. It's something that you use to
I
travel.
never,
That's
as a kid, I'm just letting everybody out there who's listening to this. I never accepted that. I've always thought, and I would challenge the Imam about that. When we would read, we actually discussed about Muhammad going to Jerusalem, flying across the desert on that. And I said, oh, I'm 16, 15, arrogant, and I'm like, it has to be a UFO. So, you're going to tell me he flew across that on a donkey? Was it physical? What kind of species was the donkey? You know what I'm saying? Because, Alex Jones is talking about the Climaries, right?
yeah.
They crossbreeding animals and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
It could
Chimeras.
be,
Yeah. Chimera.
yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, said it right. Chlamydes, right? So that could be true. But let's deal with it though.
Yeah.
That was 1,400 years ago.
Yeah, it's the same thing with the Bible. Yeah.
Exactly. So what people do, like Eric Von Daniken and all of them, they apply, Graham Hancock and those guys, they'll apply that, take scientific information and try to say, well, it had to be a craft.
Yeah.
Which is nothing wrong with that. You can't just tell people it's a flying donkey.
Yeah, well, it's just like if we're looking in the Bible and it's talking about chariots of fire, but that's the word we read in English. You break it down, you get the word Merkaba or Merkaba, and it just means a vehicle. The word chariot is vehicle, so it's like I seen a fiery vehicle. It's not an actual chariot with horses and stuff pulling it. You know what I'm saying? But for some reason, it's translated that way. We got to go back to the original languages to break it down.
Yeah. But even when you go and start going into the languages and stuff like that, it still gives you like a void there. It doesn't necessarily give you a real translation. Yeah. It's almost just like reading the Quran, the Torah, or the Bible, and it's still all allegorical.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's a huge part of that. But then we're like, it's like if you was to show up in that time period with an iPhone or an Android, hey, look, dude, if you was to show up in 1994 with an iPhone and say, hey, bro, you could watch any episode of the Ninja Turtles you want. What? You could watch any music video, and like there's all this information in this phone or on your television. That was like a dream for a kid. But go back thousands of years with that and show it up. These people are doing their best to explain this aerial phenomenon and these stars moving and I mean the seers of the Old Testament prophets, they were stargazers, man. They hung out, they like bred children to stargaze. Like when they were born, they couldn't come outside and they couldn't be around bright light so that they could see the stars better at night. This total different culture than to actually what we have now, and we try to read that stuff and interpret it for like westernized Christianity or Islam or whatever the case is, and it's totally not what we have today.
No, it's not. You would think the funny thing about it is like you would think that they would, the Islamic community and the Christian community would probe into these kinds of understandings to give a real explanation on what what we're reading. Yeah. Because I've always said, I tell this to everybody. I say, we learned the Quran, right? We learn how to read the Quran, right? But they tell you in the madrasas, right, in the schools, they tell you that you'll never be able to understand the Quran. So if we're never going to understand it, why are we memorizing it? What's the point of memorizing all of this stuff? You know what I'm saying? And we're never going to understand what it's saying. But the reality is you can understand what it's saying. They just don't want you to probe out of, they don't want you to use your own mind. Mm-hmm. They want you to memorize it, and they want to control your understanding of, you know what I'm saying, of the text. Yeah. They don't want you to have an open mind about it. You know what I'm saying? So, it's a struggle. It's an institutionalized, thing with the Catholic Church and the Christian. I think the Catholics, man, they believe in UFOs. Oh, I think the Pope. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. They know what's up. Yeah, they know what's up. They might be talking to them.
They definitely are, man. I think. Yeah. I don't know if they're at war with other races, like to actually pinpoint it down of what's going on. Mm-hmm. It gets squirrely, but I know this: something is going on, and they know. Yeah. I could say that for sure. Something's out there.
Indeed.
Something's traveling off of our planet and traveling through the night skies and coming back and forth and all types of stuff.
Did you see? About 2 months ago, they had a fucking it was I think it was like a large object that came interstellarly out of nowhere and came through our solar system. I think it was a long
and it had something like following behind it. Was that when they tried to say it was a rocket? Is that the one you're talking about?
It kind of they was really saying it was like a piece of a comet or a rock.
Okay.
That kind of came through, but it came through and just vanished into the and I mean stuff like that. We just don't simply know what they're doing up there, man.
Oh yeah.
And they're not really. Listen, man, I talked to my main man Cannabis, right? And Cannabis told me, because Cannabis is in the military, right? And he was in Afghanistan. He was a guy that dropped the convoy, drop the homies off. They do what they do. They get back. He take them back. But he said what he would do is sometimes he would just lay in the desert and put UV goggles on.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever looked through UV goggles before.
I've seen video of it.
Yo, man, he told me, and he said, listen, Sue, man, I don't know, man, but look, I've seen a lot of crazy stuff with them UV goggles. Because he said he would gaze into the stars with those UV goggles. And he said he would see all kinds of stuff. Because you could see with the UV goggles, you could see further. You could actually see.
Yeah.
Like, what I'm saying? And
you could see a lot more with just binoculars that you use in the mountains. I've got binoculars. When I was stargazing, I just used regular binoculars. Mm-hmm. And then I remember walking out on my porch and looking up and seeing the stars, holding the binoculars up. And then as soon as I looked up, seeing all kinds of stuff moving out there just with regular binoculars. Like, what is that? Yeah. It's not in a straight pattern. They're doing S formations through the sky.
Formations and stuff like that.
Yeah, fleets of UFOs.
I advise everybody on this show, man, go down to Best Buy and get yourself a telescope, man, because telescopes is a beautiful thing. And if you're ever out there in Los Angeles, go up to the Griffin Observatory. They have a telescope up there, man. I was just looking at Jupiter last time I was out there. A lot of people haven't looked through a telescope before. You go up to the average person, ask them, have you ever looked through a telescope? And they'll probably tell you, no, they never did it before.
Yeah.
So I advise everybody, man, because look, don't listen to me and TruthSeekah. You know what I'm saying? It's not about, you can listen to us, we'll give you a little information, but yo, man, trust me, man, if you guys start to do the stuff that we've done, you know what I mean, then we could really have some conversations, man.
I think that's why a lot of people's here, though. I think that they've had encounters, but they can't talk to nobody about it.
Exactly.
They've seen ships and they've seen the videos. There's people who actually have those goggles, those night vision goggles. I think they're Generation 3 night vision goggles. And some people who have them, they'll hold cameras up to them and they'll film it. And they'll be following fleets. It looks like I remember Cosmic said something like, I seen like a flock of birds in a UFO formation, soaring vibration or whatever, and it reminds me of seeing the birds in formation flying, and you could see night vision like out of the atmosphere, ships flying in a military like formation out of the atmosphere. Crazy.